It's what you've all been waiting for. It's time to start installing Server 2016. Stay tuned. First thing that we're going to do is open up VirtualBox, and this is what the first screen will look like once you get there. Here are requirements that you will need for installing the VirtualBox with Server 2016 and running it somewhat successfully. You should have at least like 4 gigs of RAM on your system. You can allocate about 2 gigs of RAM to this, sometimes less, but you will have a slower experience. If you have 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gigs of RAM, you can definitely bump that up to a higher number so you have a better experience. You should have around 40 gigs of free space or so just to install the operating system and any other peripherals that we might want to install inside that OS. The next thing is the processor. You can get by with a slower processor and you will have a less than fantastic experience, and that's all right. You know, you can use an old machine to do this and you'll be fine. Just will be a little bit slower, so just keep that in mind. Older processors fine, newer processors great. Those are basically the requirements that you guys need to know about for right now. For my specific machine, I have a bunch of different hard drives, so what I need to do is go to File and Preferences, and I need to select where this is going to go. By default, this is going to go to your C drive. This right here will say C. I've already changed mine to my J drive, which is just an empty hard drive that I have in my computer that we're using for this. So we'll just, select where you want your virtual machine to go. Hit OK. Now we're going to go to New. And right here, we're going to type in Server 2016, and then we're going to go to drop down. Oops. And we're going to do Other Windows 64-bit. Hit Next. Here's where we allocate the memory size. We're going to go to 4,228 megabytes of RAM for this virtual machine. Whatever, that's fine. Go to Next, create a virtual hard disk now. That's okay. We're going to use the VDI. That's the default here, the VirtualBox disk image. You can select other options here, so you can create like a VMDK, and you can import that in a Hyper-V, things like that. So we won't get into that right now. That's more advanced. Anyway, we're going to go to Next, and we are going to hit Fixed Size for storage on physical hard disk. We're going to go to Next, and 20 gigs. Now we're going to bump this up to 48.99 gigabytes. That's fine. You guys can basically set it to anything over probably like 35 gigs, and you should be okay. We'll hit Create. Now what's going to happen is it's going to create the virtual hard disk here in the background. It's going to start basically making all the files and stuff on the space that you had already selected. So according to this, it's going to take 8 to 12 minutes. It's jumping all over the place. So when this is done, we'll come back and we'll get to it. Stay tuned. All right, so we are back and it's done. We're ready to go forward. So now we should be at this screen right here. And what we're going to do is make sure that we have this selected, and we're going to click Start. At this point, I'm just going to minimize that because in the background here, some things are going to load. So right here, it's, wow, that's kind of weird that it's doing that. But please select a virtual optical disk or physical optical hard drive containing a disk to start your new virtual machine from. This is where we're going to click over here because we want to browse to where our ISO is downloaded to. I know this is in my downloads. My downloads folder is a complete mess. I'm sorry. But what we're going to do is just click this one. This is the Server 2016 ISO, and we're going to click Open. At this point, we're just going to go ahead and click Start, and now our virtual machine is going to start with this disk. And here you go. It says Loading Files. So right here, we know things are looking good. Here's our Windows logo, so we know that for sure it loaded the Server 2016 ISO. So this is going to keep moving forward. We will take intermittent breaks in between this video because it is going to take some time to get this all installed. So now we are at our Windows Server 2016 technical preview, and everything here is good. I speak English. Yes, we're going to install now. So it's going to go ahead and start moving forward here. And again, this might take some time, so we will take breaks in between here. So We'll let this run. We'll come back to you. All right, so now we're at an activate window screen, and we don't have a product key, so we're just going to say I don't have a product key. So with the new Server 2016, it offers a somewhat non-GUI related OS for the server, and it has a GUI experience. So what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and do the Windows Server 2016 Standard Technical Preview 5 desktop experience, because that'll be easy for all of us to kind of navigate for the first time around trying to get this started. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Next. And we accept the terms, Next. And I am just going to go ahead and click on Custom, because that's what I'm always used to clicking on anyway. Here's our drive with the allocated space of the 50 gigs that we'd set, which was actually like, 49 whatever. So that's fine. We will go ahead and click Next. Now it is really going to get started here. So at this point, it's probably going to take, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. We'll find out. I'll let you know once it finishes, and try to give you an accurate number here. I'll try to pay attention to it. But we are going to take a break right here, and we are going to let this load. So we'll be back in a little bit. All right, so I'm not sure on an accurate time there, about 10 minutes or so, and it just rebooted. So now we're going to wait and see what happens after this reboot. So we are getting devices ready now. That's very exciting, because we're moving forward at this point. All right, so it just got done doing another reboot, and it came to the customized settings screen. So right here, we're at an administrator prompt. So we are going to enter our administrator password. You can enter whatever you'd like. Just make sure you remember what that is. We can go ahead and click on Finish. So apparently you need to have a complex password, or a more complex password than what I have. So I guess we'll at least have a capital letter. There you go. Capital letter makes a world of difference there. So now we're just going to go through the finalized settings portion, and we're going to let this roll through, and we'll be back. All right, so it finally got done with our settings, and we're click on this down arrow down here to make things really simple for us. And we're just going to do Insert Control Alt Delete, which will basically send the Control Alt Delete commands to the virtual machine to let us log in. So we're just going to enter our password. Hit enter, and now we're going to wait again for this to now process and move forward. All right, so it took all of about 25 or 30 minutes or so to get this up and running as a virtual machine. So it's now loading our server manager, but we are pretty much good to go. It's going to start basically loading all of these things. And again, I have kind of a slower computer here, so my experience will be less than optimal. So let's see, do you want my PC to be discovered by other PCs and devices on the network? Sure, do whatever you would like. So now here we go, we have our server manager, the dashboard's here, we can start configuring the server and adding roles, so we can start adding Active Directory and things like that. But for now, this is the end of the video. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching the Server 2016 installation video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up in the comments below and we can talk about them. If you guys have any suggestions on what you would like to see in the future videos featuring Server 2016, of course, leave a comment below and we will figure out what we will move on to next. Pretty sure we will be doing the Active Directory stuff and adding it to the domain and a few things like that. So if you guys have really something important that you really would like to see, make sure you leave a comment below and we will see what we can do about making a video for you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.